everyone, and welcome to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania. This is my tutorial video for my latest FunFold class. There are 3 cards in the class, and for the ladies who've bought this class, thank you very much. I hope the instructions I give today are clear and you can follow them to create your own cards. I'm just checking that I'm central there.
Thank you very much.
Ooh, I'm going to check my volume. That looks all right as well. Okay, so as I say, these are the 3 cards you've purchased in your kits, and this is what your kits should look like. Lots of lovely crafty goodness there. So we'll be able to do those today. I'm going to do all 3 cards in one video, so assuming that the battery on my phone and the battery on my iPad stand up to the pressure, we should get through all 3 cards in about 45 minutes. So without any further ado, just let's get started. For these cards you just need your own adhesives, so you'll need some dimensionals or foam squares, whatever you use at home, plus you'll also need some glue, and that's probably about it. You shouldn't need any other adhesives than those, but you will also need your favourite sentiment stamp and some black ink and the ink pads and stuff to stamp those sentiments. So that should be all you need, plus your 3 packs, and we should be ready to go. I might do the snail one first, because that's the most complicated one. It's going to take the longest time. And if our battery runs out, at least I'll get this one out of the way first. So this is what the pack should look like for the little snail. Lots of bits and pieces. Oh, I should have mentioned, it's actually a central stepping easel card, which is a bit of a mouthful, but it basically sits up. I'll turn it sideways so you can see. It's a bit hard to see from the angle of the camera. It sort of sits up like that, sort of like there's the steps, and it's got an easel that comes to the front there, and the little easel foot here in the shape of a little stitched rectangle with a heart on it stops the card from falling over, so it sits up and it looks something like that on display. So it's really cute, and I love that little cute snail. He's quite adorable. So he's actually die cut from the designer series paper from the Snail or You've Snailed It bundle, which is available till the end of June. So if you like what you see, all available till the end of June 2020. So I'm just checking that. It looks like make sure my focus is right. I just noticed it went a bit funny there on the replay. Okay, so here's your pack. You'll have an envelope in there, which obviously I'm not going to need at the moment, or might later. And you've got all these bits and pieces. Don't worry about the measurements at this stage. I will pop them into the comments of the video at some stage. Might not be this weekend. This is the weekend of the, what date is it? This is the weekend of the 11th of April, so it'll probably be over the next week or so. I'll have those in. So you've got lots of pieces. There's definitely a fair bit going on with this card. But you've got all the pieces there. This is a good test for me to see if I actually live up to my own publicity, and all you need is adhesives and sentiment, because otherwise I'm not delivering what I promise. Okay, so the card base here is quite an unusual one with a bit of an elaborate cut. You've got a whole series of cuts and folds here. It is basically a whole length of A4 paper, so I think it's about 8 1/4 inches long, and it's 5 3/4 inches wide. And it's got a series of cuts and folds. As I said, I'll put those into the comments so you've got them there. I have made this cut before, this sort of card before, so just have a search back also on my YouTube channel, and you should be able to find it with no worries at all. A little bit worried about my focus here. Sort of keep an eye on that. I might have to revise the position of my camera. Okay, so let's have a little look. So we've got all these sort of nice frontward facing surfaces, and we want to decorate each and every one of them. So let's have a look. So this one here, this is in Coastal Cabana. No, sorry, this is in Pool Party cardstock, this one. So this is Pool Party. It's a nice sort of bluey green sort of colour. I've got some highlights or some layers, some mats cut in Blushing Bride. So some of you will have the reverse of this. You'll have a Blushing Bride card base with pool party mats, but that will be, and you'll also have a pink version of this paper as well, so a pink background version like the original card, but they're limited supplies of that designer series paper. I've swapped for later cards to this beautiful snail one, and to be honest, I think I like it just as much. I'm sort of just really happy with both, so I'm not too concerned, so hopefully you'll like them as well. Okay, so we might put the card base aside for the moment and start with our pieces of Blushing Bride, or our mats. So it's Blushing Bride from me, some of you it'll be Pool Party. So we've got comparable pieces of designer series paper, and what you need to do is add all those pieces of designer series paper to their corresponding mat, like that. So just grab some glue. Oh, not a new one, we don't want that. We'll use this one. Okay, so we're going to glue all these little mats together. So there we are. So the pink and the blue just go so nicely together. It's not something I would have normally put together, but thanks for Stampin' Up, they always take us a little bit out of our comfort zone sometimes in wonderful ways. So you've got a long thin one there, and the paper goes on the top of that. So you've just got a very tiny gap around this one, so just make sure the gap is the same all the way around. And these ones as well. Oh. And the last one. So we've got those all layered up, all matted up, like that. Okay. So we might bring our card base in and we'll actually pop them in the right places. This large one here, this larger one, goes on the bottom of the easel. So this base of the easel here, so you pop that on there, and it's got to go towards it might not be quite long enough, wide enough to fit the whole base, the whole easel base, but just bring it to the front. No one's going to notice too much if there's a gap at the back, but they will notice if there's a gap at the front. So line that up. You might have a bit of, as I say, a bit of a gap at the back there, but that'll be hidden by the rest of the card. The reason that is, it's by cutting that a little bit shorter, I actually get the whole card out of a 6-inch square piece of cardstock, which helped me get more actual kits out of each 12 by 12 page. So this long skinny one is going to go at the bottom of the front bottom, just here. Okay. Just like that. And then these two sort of shorter, wider ones are going to go down the sides. Make sure you line up your paper so it all goes in the same direction. You don't want your snails or your toadstools, depending on what paper you've got, sort of facing upside down or standing on their heads. It'll look a bit weird. It'd still look lovely, I'm sure, but it just would look a bit weird. So just line them up so they're all up the right way. And there we are. Lovely. I really like this blue version of the card. I actually quite like it a lot. Okay, so there we are. So that's sort of most of the designer series paper, all the designer series paper in place there with its pink or blue mats. Okay, So you've got another square piece here. So some will have the blushing bride and some will have the pool party. But this square, which is a 3 1/8 inch square, just sits straight onto the front face of the card, this main square area here. And there's no designer series paper for that part. It's going to be decorated with our cute little snail. Okay, so that just sits there. Then what we can do is probably bring in the white whisper, or basic white sort of perforated little square that we've got. This is from the Snail dies, so it looks like the whole theme of this snail bundle is snail mail, so it's all looking like stamps and letters, and it's all sort of really cute. So our little snail is delivering us some snail mail, and this is a stamp. So we're just going to pop that stamp just in the middle, or that little square just in the middle of our front facing card front, just like that. Okay, cool. What we might do as well, we'll just assemble the little envelope. So you should have this weird looking piece of cardstock here. So some will have in the pool party, some will have in the pink. And just what you do is you fold all these triangular bits in onto themselves. You may have to be a little bit careful to see where the actual die cut is, the actual score line, and sort of just fold it with the score line, just like that. So we've got top and bottom, and then the two sides fold in as well, and it's going to form a cute little envelope. Which way am I going? That way. Actually keep the top up, doesn't matter if you folded it, but keep it up. So we've got a cute little envelope there. So we're just going to glue that down. Just put some glue there and there. Just hold that for a couple of seconds. Double-sided tape might be faster if you're doing this in a hurry, so just glue that down, and there you've got a cute little envelope. He doesn't want to stay down. It's all right, I'll hold him for a second. Okay, so he's going to pop onto the front of our little card, just like that. Just at the front, just overlapping our little circle, our little square a tiny bit. And in him you're going to have this little sort of postcard, obviously a little postcard from someone special, and it's just a little heart in the middle of it. So I might pop our card out of the way for the moment. So you should have 2 of these little postcards and 2 little hearts. So 1, 2. So we're going to assemble 2 of those little postcards. So one of them is going to go here on the front of our envelope. Too much glue. Just like that, just one of them on there. And the other one, we might as well do it while we're here. And this second one is going to form the little foot stop for your easel, to stop it from falling forward when it's on display. Just like that. So we'll make that one and we'll just pop it aside. A little bit too much glue on that one. Where's my wipes? Let's give that a bit of a daub. Okay, so this one, we're going to glue it into our little envelope there. So just sort of poking out the front and just on there like that. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue on the back. Just slip the little edge of it in there so it looks like it's just sort of half in and half out sort of thing. There we are. So that little envelope is going to go on the front of our card, just like that. So we might put our little snail friend on first so we don't get too carried away. So we'll just pop our little snail friend onto the white square, So he's just going to pop there, just in the bottom left hand corner. And he's got a couple of little toadstools or mushrooms there, so just pop a little bit of glue on the back of them and just pop them next to him there. Might not have snapped out all the little mushroom bits, but yeah, I've created so many kits for this one. I got to the point where I couldn't face another mushroom, so just pop those out or leave them in. I don't think it matters as long as you've got the, it looks like a little sort of mushroom. Actually leaving them in would be nicer, or might be nice as well. So a little bit of glue on the back of him, pop him on there as well. Okay, so now we can bring in our little envelope. It's going to sit sort of half on the front and half on the top. So be careful where you put your glue. You only want to pop the glue on the to get to stick to that sort of L shape there, not onto the background, or your card won't sit up properly. So you just want to pop the glue sort of in an L, sort of there, if you can see that, and then that will sit onto the card just like that. Okay. Okay. There we are. I'll just let that dry for a second. What we can do then is stamp our sentiments. Just pop that aside to dry. So we've got a little thought bubble here, a little sort of, oh no, not a thought bubble, a speech bubble that goes with the little snail. That's also from the Snail dies. And in the original I have stamped that with a cute little hello. So that might be a nice thing to do with this one as well. I've got to remember what stamp set that was in. It wasn't my normal stamp set. Hello, hello. I think it might be loading with the snails. Yes. Okay, so this is the snail that stamp set. So this is the one that comes with our, with the dies that we've in the bundle. But obviously you haven't had to use that for this because I've done all the work for you. But it does have a cute little hello, which that block is too big. I'll just pop on a nice little block and some ink. Okay, so that's going to, if we bring back our card, it's going to sit there, sort of coming out of his little mouth, or it's actually out of his little eye. So our hello wants to go like that. There we are. That's so cute. So if you've got a little hello or a little for you or a little love you or something like that, that would be really, really nice there. So we're going to pop that hello up on some dimensionals. So you'll need some foam squares or whatever it is you use at home. Just going to pop one on the back there, one of our nice big ones, and pop our hello just there. Okay, so that's all stuck quite well. While we've got the dimensionals out, I'm going to pop a couple of those on the back of this second little postcard that we've popped our heart on. And this, as I said, is going to be the easel stop, the easel foot. So you need to pop this down on this part. So work out how far forward you want your easel to sit when it's on display, and just then put the easel, put the little postcard just there to stop it from moving any further forward. So if you want it to sit really high, put it further back, and if you want it to sit really forward, put it more towards the front, but I'm happy with it just there. So as you can see now, that little little postcard on dimensionals is stopping the card from falling forwards. Okay, so that's very nearly done. We've got one more, two more things to do, hopefully, if I haven't lost it. You should have a tiny, 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 tiny little red heart in your kit. So I'm going to pop that. Just, it's got adhesive on the back, so you don't have to bother gluing it. And I'll pop that just on our little hello. You can put it anywhere around that you want, but I think it's just so cute, this little enamel red, real red heart. Just going to pop that on the hello. You had me at hello. There you go. Okay, so that's that there. Now, you've got one more sentiment box. Now, this one isn't from the Snail dies. This one's actually from the art gallery dies. But it's also got, that sort of stamp sort of look to it, a postage stamp sort of edge. So I thought it went really, really well with our little guy. And I've got to grab the box. You can tell I had a class yesterday. I've got everything all in their boxes rather than in my shelves. So it's got a really nice sort of plain happy birthday there that fits perfectly in this sentiment box. So whatever happy birthday you've got, if you've got a nice one that fits in that box, go for it. Of course, if your sentiments don't fit the boxes, please feel free to cut new sentiment boxes to fit the sentiments that you like, or just leave the sentiments off completely. It's entirely up to you. We'll just glue this one onto the card. That glue's coming out very fast, just on the front there, just in that little gap below the snail. Okay, all right, so that one's done. First card. It is quite a complicated card, but because I've done all the cutting and scoring for you, it shouldn't be too difficult, except if your glue keeps moving. Stay there, glue. Okay, so there we are. So as I mentioned, half of you will have the pink on blue, and half of you will have the blue on pink. And I'm not really sure which one I like. I like them both equally, actually. Yeah. So no, hopefully you'll be happy whichever one of those designs you get, and you'll love that little snail. He's so cute. As I say, the You Snailed It bundle is available to the end of June. I don't know whether it will continue past June in the next mini catalogue, but if you like it, definitely jump online before the end of June and grab it while stocks last. Okay, so there's our first stepped easel card. Hope you like that one. And everything was there, so I have stuck to my word so far. We needed was adhesives and our sentiments, and we've done it. I might just pop that one away. There's its little plastic bag. Here we go. And we'll get on with the second one. We'll put that over there and put it in this plastic bag later. You don't need to watch that. Okay, so card number 2. Let's do this one with the butterflies. So this is just really, really sweet. I love this one. It's just sort of nice and casual and crisp and clean. It uses the butterfly dies. This is from the Butterfly Brilliance collection, I think it's called. It's got the dies and the stamps, obviously, that go in the one collection. And it's got a really nice stamp set as well, that has lots of lovely butterfly images. So just if you thought you had too many butterflies, you can never have too many butterflies. This one is just lovely. And behind there, I have picked some of our beautiful cardstock colours and stripped them out so that you get this really nice background. You can choose whether you have your colours going horizontally or if you want to flip them vertically. I might do it vertically this time so you can see and make your choice. And then you've got your white butterfly dies on top with a really nice sentiment there, which I've got to remember where I got it from. Not doing very well with sentiments today, am I? Okay, so this is the kit. I'll bring it over. Here is your kit. It's a square card, so I've given you a square envelope. And we might leave the butterflies in there just so I don't lose them, because you guys know what I'm like when it comes to losing things. Okay, so you should have 8 strips of colour. And I can go through the colours in a moment and tell you what they are, just for your own purposes. And you've got a square here, which is a 4 1/8 square piece of black cardstock. And forgive those shadows that are coming in there. The sun's just come round, so the shadows, I might try and close them up a bit. Hopefully that won't be too dark. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Better dark than strippy shadows. And then you've got a 4-inch square white piece of cardstock as well, so that just fits just inside the black. And it's this one, the white one, that you want to start with. So what we're going to do, and the best thing to probably use for this particular job, is Snail adhesive. You could use glue or you could use double-sided tape, but I think I'm going to, if I can find my snail, I'm going to use Snail. Oh, something just fell on the floor. Oh, my snail's not there. Okay, I might use double-sided tape. Okay, so what I suggest you do is grab your Snail or your double-sided tape and make a frame of it, excuse me, make a frame of it around your little white square. And then I would pop another one down the middle, just like that. Okay, so if you've got your snail, go and get that all done, or your double-sided tape, or your glue. As I say, you could use glue as well, but you'll probably see in a minute why I think the double-sided tape or Snail is better. Okay, and the one in the middle. Okay, so we're going to pop that just on our bench. So get that lined up with your grid paper or your table or whatever it is you line things up on. Then we're going to bring in these strips, and as I lay them down, I will tell you what colours they are. Now, just, you know, whatever combination you want, it's totally fine. You know, if you don't like the combination that I'm using or the order that I'm using, you change it around, no worries at all. So this very first one is Highland Heather, so I'm going to pop that. I might start from the bottom. Line it up with the edge as best you can. You're going to overlap a little bit, but that's fine. I've cut these a little bit longer than they need to be, so you can trim them off. Better longer than shorter. This is Flirty Flamingo, and once you've got the first one in, the others are quite easy. Just butt it up and firm it down. Then we've got Petal Parade. Oh no, Petal Pink. Oh, hey you. Coastal Cabana wants to butt in. So, no, we want Petal Pink next. But as I said, any order is fine. Petal Pink next. Then some Seaside Spray. Now this colour is one of my favourites, and I'm absolutely terrified, sad as anything that it's actually retiring at the, when does this one retire? It retires in May. So if you love the Seaside Spray as much as I do, you want to stock up on the paper, get it before the 4th of May, because then it will be no more. We have a whole new range of in colours. Then we have our Coastal Cabana, now our Pool Party. Don't know why I get those two mixed up. We have our Pool Party, and then our So Saffron. Okay, and then I've mucked it up. Then this is Pear Pizzazz. Lovely. And then our Soft Sea Foam. Okay, so there we are. We have all our colours. Aren't they just nice? They're so nice. These are also like the soft, sort of powdery colours that I liked for this card. Then what we need to do is flip it over and trim off those edges. So as I say, I've given you extra width here. So if you have a trimmer at home or a guillotine or something, I'd suggest you use that. I'm just going to go down with my scissors. I may regret it later, but we'll see. That's not too bad. Okay, so down the other end as well. And you end up with your 4x4 box of beautiful colours there. There we are. I'm not as straight as I thought I'd be. There we are. Okay, so if you bring in your black, that's going to be our backing colour. So that should fit just nicely around there with a tiny hint of the black peeking out. So we might glue those, or glue those together. Then there's not much to this one at all, really. It's a very simple card once you've got those strips laid down. I was going to go that way. There we are. I don't know if you guys can hear that rain. It's a terrible, well, it's a lovely rainy day if you needed the rain here in Hobart. It's been raining most of the morning so far, and will keep going the rest of the day. So just what we need for a bit of autumn rain. There you go. So that's our strip with our, and I think the black around it really gives it a nice sort of emphasis, a nice feature of that sort of highlights the colours even more. Okay, so what you need to do now is just bring your card base in, and it's a square card. I think it's a 4 and a 5-inch square card. So you've got your card base is 10 by 5, and I've scored it. So you can choose at this stage. You can choose whether you want the card to be a portrait card or a landscape card. Some people don't like the portrait ones because they don't stand up very well on display. So I might make this one actually a landscape card so it sits open like that. And again, I said I was going to make this one so that the stripes went up and down rather than side by side. Rather than went up and down, went portrait rather than landscape as well. I'm going to pop that on there. There we are. Okay. There we are. Okay, so now the only thing to do is bring in our little butterflies. So you should have 4 butterflies altogether. There'll be various shapes and sizes. You should have a sort of array of sizes there. They're ranging from fairly large to smaller. The reason is that I've cut everyone an assortment of them from the dies. And again, I think I've cut well and truly over 100 individual butterflies in this last week, so you might have to push out some of your little bits just because I was seeing double by the time I got to the end of them all. But if they should just push them through, they should just come out nice and easy. Yeah, if they don't, leave them in. I think they're actually quite pretty left in. It just gives you butterfly a little bit of a different dimension. And as you can see, you've got lots of little bits there. You can imagine what the floor of my craft room looked like after I'd finished last night. Ay, ay, ay. It looks like it had been snowing in here. Still not too good, but we'll get rid of those. The more the merrier. Okay, so we'll just arrange our butterflies in. So we'll just sort of find which way we like them. Now you can take them sort of keep part of them on the colour and part of them off onto the white. I think that looks just sort of like really sort of lovely and random. As long as they don't overflow the edge of your card, you're not in too much trouble there. So I think mine, I'm going to have them like that. Okay, isn't that really sweet? Anyway, so grab some glue and just pop glue on the butterfly's body. So just in that central part there. I really like having their wings sort of free. If you want to put glue on the wings, that's fine as well. It's your card to do with as you wish. And I'm picking up my sentiment box there. Just a little bit on the back. Some more of those little bits coming out. Yeah. And one last one with some bits. They never stop, bits everywhere. Yeah. So I sort of like to pop my butterflies on there so they're not all flying in the same direction. So they're sort of random, sort of some pointing that way, that way, that way. They're probably a little bit too much the same way, but that's fine. So yeah, so just do what you want with your butterflies there, but I think they're really, really, really nice. So we do have a sentiment box here, and it's probably a sentiment box that would fit just about any sentiment. So I'm going to use something a bit different. I'll use something from my favourite sentiment box, which is my favourite sentiment stamp, which is my Peaceful Moments. We might go Happy Birthday. Oh, will we go Happy Birthday? I'm actually in a swap at the moment, which is a to someone special Mother's Day swap. So I'm thinking if it fits, I might use Thinking of You with All My Heart, and then I can use it for my swap. Never be one for wasting effort if I can help it. Let's see that fits. Yes, perfect. So just some black ink. And into there. Beautiful. Now let's grab some dimensionals again. Just going to put a couple. And I'm just going to, that breaks my heart to cover this little butterfly, going to pop the sentiment box in just there so it goes off the edge a little bit. I'm hoping that it'll actually, I might have to glue, put a little bit of glue on there where that butterfly is going to need to stick with my sentiment box. And let's bring that in there. Make sure that's straight. Easier the other way around because you can actually tell, you just line it up with the strips of paper, but I think that's straight. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, so Thinking of You with All My Heart and my beautiful, colourful butterfly background. That's really nice, and I think I quite like those strips going up and down vertically rather than horizontally. So there's the both options there, so up and down there and side by side there. So that's really up to you what you do. You should also have some rhinestones, hopefully, if I can find the thing. Yes, you've got some rhinestones, just 3 little silver gems, and you can choose, I might pop them on my larger, on these 3 butterflies. Might not do this little guy because his head's covered by the sentiment box, but I'll put it on the 3 other ones. Here we are. If you want to add some more, if you've got some other rhinestones or jewels in your stash, go for it. But these are the ones I've given you with the kit. Okay, so that's card number 2. I think that's actually probably my favourite. And that light's come through again. Apologies for that. There's not much I can do about that, unfortunately. that's between the blinds. Okay, so hopefully I'll just move out of the way. You can see that. You can see that that beautiful card. Okay, so that's card number 2. Card number 2 in this month's FunFold class. Okay, so we'll pop that one away. And we'll do the last one. Now, the last one actually is, yeah, it's a bit tricky. So it might be best to watch this part first before you start grafting. Just move everything out of the way. You should see the mess past the camera is a bit crazy, but anyway, that's all right. Okay, so this one is called a floating gate, which I found it online. I'd never seen them before, and I thought they were quite unusual, and mostly fairly straightforward, but there is a little complication which we probably have to watch before you plough on. Now, you'll notice you guys may have or will have different designer series paper to me. You've got the designer series paper from the art gallery bundle, where I am just about out of it. I've only got a few bits left, so I decided for my demonstration video I would use a different paper. This is actually from the recent celebration blooms paper, but it's no longer available. But I think with the little white flowers and the blue, it's quite pretty. So you'll get what I mean. So as I say, you will have a different paper. But anyway, so in this card base, the card base here is a 8 by 5 3/4, and I've scored it 2 inches from each end. So it's scored at 2 and 6, and it forms this sort of gate here, central fold gate. Okay, so then you've got 2 panels of So Saffron and 2 panels of designer series paper. So what we might do is we'll layer up this designer series paper. So the designer series paper is going to go on the So Saffron, and then both of those will go on either side of our gate. We've got our classic yellow and blue here combination. Which used to be what my kitchen was painted, until my husband just told me that he hated it after about 15 years, so it's not painted that colour anymore. I thought it was beautiful. It was very 80s or 90s, probably more 90s, but anyway, I might have been behind a decade. Okay, so we've got our 2 designer series papers glued up there. So then grab a bit more glue and pop those on the outside of our gate. Just like that. See, that's so pretty. I love that blue and that yellow. It just really appeals. But I am a blue girl. Now, when you're doing yours, make sure you put, because the art gallery paper has a definite up and down direction, so make sure you pop your paper the right way, so that they're both facing the right direction, up and down. Okay, so there we are. It's a nice little card on its own, really. Okay, so you've got another panel of Whisper White, and that's going to pop on the inside. So just glue that. We might as well do that while we're here with the glue in hand. And that just goes just in the middle, just like that. Okay, cool. Phew, she takes a breath. Okay, so now the tricky bit starts. What we might do first is assemble our little daisies, she says, putting off the tricky bit. So you should have 6 individual daisy cuts. So this is using the medium daisy punch. And they come out, you should have 3 little circles. Oh, yeah, 3 little circles, which are the centres of the daisies. Now, there is a punch for this, but I must admit that I cut the circles with my my Cricut machine, just because I didn't want to blunt my punch making so many beautiful kits. So you can use your punch, or your die for the circles, but as I say, I've used my cricket here. So we'll just give each of our little daisies, just grab your bone folder or your finger or a pair of scissors or whatever you use as a folder, and just gently rub it between the thumb and your between the bone folder and your finger, your thumb, just to give your daisies just a slight sort of bend, a curl. Doesn't want to be a lot, just enough to make them not flat. And be very gentle because they are quite small or fragile at the base where the petals join the base. So if you go yanking them too hard, you are going to rip it off, as I have on many occasions. Okay, so what we're going to do now is assemble our daisies. We want to make 3 daisies out of these 6 punch cuts or die cuts. So just pop a bit of glue in between, in the middle of one, and then just press a second one on top. Just, if you have nice glue that you can move, just sort of move it till they line up properly. Then pop another little piece of glue in the centre of there, and bring in your little circle, and pop the circle in the centre. So that's our daisy. You want to make 3 of those. And then daisy, and then glue. Nothing more sunny and springy than a daisy, even though we're in autumn. Oops, that one moved. Didn't think it was central enough, and then I moved it too far. Okay, last one. Still isn't central enough. It's annoying me. I might have to put up with it or I'm going to make it worse. There we go. And then this one. And then the middle centre. Okay. There we are. So we have our 3 little sunny daisies there. Okay, and you should also have 4 of these little leaves. So this is the sprig punch. So you can get that online as well. So you should have 4 of those. They're in Pear Pizzazz. So we'll put those aside. So they're going to complement our little daisies quite nicely. Okay, so we'll do the front first. So in your pack you will also have 3 squares. You'll have a square of Night of Navy, a square of So Saffron, and a square of Whisper White, or Basic White. So just layer those up. They're going to go on the front of your card. Just glue on the back. And then onto the Night of Navy. And then the white onto there. So on this front one, we're going to decorate it with one of our daisies and our main sentiment. Moving everything around. So we'll do that now. So sentiment we're going to use, what am I going to use? Now, thinking ahead with the sentiment here, we're going to actually have 3 sentiments on this card. We're going to have the one on the front, and then we're going to have 2 inside. So we're going to have one, they're going to be diagonally opposite each other. So if you can think ahead a little bit with your sentiments and say, well, what do I have that flows with the 3 sentiments? So obviously we have, lots of times we'll have, thank you, I appreciate everything you do, but that's only 2. So in this one, I've used happy birthday, wishing you every happiness on this special day, and these are the moments we look back in joy. So they're all sort of roughly the same sort of thing, but you do need 3 that sort of mean this, that sort of point in the same direction, sort of thing. So there's no point having happy birthday, I'm really sorry for your accident, bon voyage. Obviously they make no sense together. So you need to sort of pick 3 sentiments or 3 little sayings that go together sort of nicely. So I might stick to what I had before because I sort of know that they flow and it already works. So I'm going to bring in my happy birthday, which again is from my peaceful moments. There's somebody sneezing in my living room. I'm going to put the sentiment towards the top right hand side of the little square, just because our daisy is going to fill the rest of the space. So we're just going to pop a happy birthday there, just like that. Oh, somebody has got a sneeze. We're going to bring one of our daisies in. We'll just pop a little bit of glue on the back of him and pop him down here in the bottom right left hand corner of our square, and then take 2 of our little leaves, our little tri leaves, a little bit of glue on the back, and bring it in underneath. So one there and one. It doesn't matter if it overlaps your little square a little bit, because that'll be nice when we've got it on our card. So there, just try and not to overlap your sentiment too much. I've got to find my little wiper. There we are. So you've got that little decorated square there. Okay, so what we're going to do is bring that into the front of our card. Oh, I quite like that. I really do like that paper. I wish it would continue. So we're going to pop it on the front there. We only need to glue it on the left hand side so it sticks to that side of the card when it flips open. Don't glue it to both, because then your card will be sort of glued shut. You won't be able to enjoy it. Okay, so we'll pop that in there, sort of central, same top and bottom, square, that sort of thing. All the same rules apply. Okay, there we are. Okay, so now the bit of it that I've been putting off, the tricky bit. It's not tricky, but as I say, best to watch before you plough on with the next part. So you've got another 2 little squares of Night of Navy, plus you've got 2 pieces of white cardstock that have been scored in 3 places. So if you bend those scores down, up, it forms a little sort of part square bracket. So that's what you want to make. You want to make 2 little brackets, and this is what does the floating part of our card when you open it up. You've got 2 little brackets like that. What we need to do is grab our card and glue the brackets into the card so that when you close the card over, they collapse down flat. Okay, so when we glue these in, we do have to test that they do collapse down flat, because that's the idea of the floating gate. Okay, so just like that. So if you've got a glue like a Tombow, like a Stampin' Up glue that gives you a little bit of wriggle room once it's on, I suggest you use that for this next bit, because then when you fold it flat to test it, the glue will let you sort of move a little bit. So what you need to keep in mind as well is that the front of these little brackets is going to be decorated or hidden by a square. So we also need to take into account that that square is going to be there as well. We might do the brackets first. Okay, so you need to add a little bit of glue to the tab, and as I say, if you've got a glue that gives you some wriggle room, go for it. Now if we get to the end of this and you decide that it's all a bit tricky, that is perfectly a lovely perfect card. honestly, you could do a sentiment in there and leave it as is and nobody would know. But so if you get to the end of this and you think, no, that's too tricky, I'm just going to ruin it, you know, there's nothing to say you have to do this extra bit. So what we want to do is grab our little bracket, and you need to leave from the top of the card to where you start your bracket, you need to leave about 3/4 of an inch to an inch. Okay, so you need to, and then you sort of, yes, and pop the back of the bracket there. So I've just glued that to leaving about an inch from the top and an inch from the side. Hopefully you can see that there. Same sort of distance. Then what we do is bring the card front in, and we can actually hold that flat, close the card down and hold it for a little while so that the glue starts to take, just till it, and then that is your bracket in. So hopefully that makes sense. We'll do it again at the bottom. So glue it to the bottom of your card, to the back of your card, then close the card down and let the glue sort of, what's the word, take where it wants to, sort of, and you get a natural fold. So that's our front bracket. Does that make sense? We'll do it again in the bottom one. So we've got our second little bracket here, so this is going to go down the bottom. So some glue there, some glue on the back tab as well. Leave yourself about an inch from the edge of the card and an inch from the inside. I mean from the side score. Just like that. So you can see that. About an inch there and an inch there. It's a couple of centimetres. Fold it down flat like that. Bring your card over and let the glue that you've popped on that little tag just stick to the back of the card, and then open it up. Okay, so I just let that dry a little bit. A bit of my glue has escaped, so we don't want that, so I'm just going to wipe that off. So I popped a little bit too much glue on there. I don't want it to escape onto the card and make it stick closed all the time. There we are. So you can see that we've got our two little brackets in there. Okay, so watch this back a couple of times, get it right in your head before you plough on. So they will, when the card is open on display, they sort of sit up like that. So if you can see that there, we've got two little squares in there. But when you fold it closed, they are sort of flat behind the gate. Okay, that was all right. So watch that a couple of times before you come back into it. Okay, so what we need to do now is decorate the front of those. That's what we've got our two little squares for. So we've got a little square to sit on the bottom, top of that one, and a little square to sit there. So when you position your squares, make sure that they flick past each other without sort of rubbing against each other, without overlapping. So you wouldn't want them sort of like that, because then they would clash with each other when you try to close your card. So you need them to sort of be free of each other in the centre, so separated. Okay, just like that. What we're going to do is with each of these little, what we might do before we put them in, is pop their little daisies on. So they're each going to get a little daisy as well. Just like that. And actually I'll leave the leaves, just put the daisies on for now, and you'll see why I say leave the leaves in a minute, just because we want to make sure that they too don't clash with each other when the card is being closed. We've got our two little daisies there. We might actually do our stamping as well. Remember I said we're going to have one stamp here and one stamp there, so we have to be careful which ones we chose. So we might, so we've got happy birthday on the front, so we wanted something that sort of something that sort of flows nicely. So we'll use the wish you happiness, every happiness this special day will bring. And just pop that here. There we are. And we will also use these. Oh, do I want that one? I don't really like that one. What we use, yeah, one keeps to the thinking of you with all my heart one. You can think of people on their birthday, can't you? I'll put that here. There we are. So you've got your sentiments sort of opposite each other, sort of diagonally opposite each other. Okay, so last things to do, we're going to add our little squares. So you're adding a large square to a small square, so just add the glue to the small square and then bring in your little daisy. So line it up with the edge of the daisy, the edge of the decorated square, with the goes hard up on the edge, on the front flap of your card. So that's where you want it to be. And then we can just practice closing that. That looks all right. Okay. And then the same thing with the bottom one. And pop that one on as well. And again, make sure they don't run into each other when you try and close the card. Well, my iPad's just about to run out of battery. I think we'll just about be right. Okay, so there's that one. I won't close them just yet before that glue dries. Now you've got two more little green leaves. So what I was saying before is, well, you have to be careful where you pop these, because you don't want that one up here, because it'll clash with that little square when you close your card. You probably want it sort of down here so that it's away from the action, so to speak. And there's that one there. And the same thing with this one. You don't want to put that there because it'll clash with that one. So we want to put this one at the top, so it's out of the way. Okay, so there they are. So that's pretty much that one done. It's really unusual, isn't it? Sort of, it's a 3D card, but the 3D happens inside rather than outside, which is where most cards are 3D. There, that's sort of really nice. So when it's dry, oh, that one's gone crooked. Hope it's going to move. So when it's dry and you close it, you have to make sure that everything that's inside stays inside. So they'll sort of glide. The theory is that they'll glide past there. They'll glide past when it's folded. First one's always the hardest. So when it's folded, it looks like that, and then when they open up, oh, okay, yeah, careful with that leaf. You might want to put more. I'm going to put a bit more glue on that leaf so he doesn't pop up. There we are. But as I say, be very careful when you close it that they slip under. It's easier the second time to have a bit of a practice. Okay, so you should also again have some dimensionals. You should don't have those. Some gems, some basic gems, which thankfully are a staple of Stampin' Up and won't retire at the moment, so they're ongoing. We'll pop 3 of those just around the place, just on the front. There we are. And that's that one done. So there is our floating gatefold card. Very unusual, quite striking. It's never seen one like that before, quite unusual, but yeah, quite nice. So here is the one we've made today. As I say, it's got different paper than the one you will have in your kit, just because I'd run out, but I quite like that one as well. I'll be using that one for the next card swap also. Okay, so there they are. So that's card number 3. That's the last one of our what month are we? April FunFold class. I hope you really enjoyed that one. If you have any questions, just reach out. You've all got you're all in contact with me on Messenger or via Facebook. Just reach out and tell me if you've got an issue. If anything's missing, please reach out and tell me, and I will send you the missing piece in the mail as soon as I can. It's tricky when you do so many sets. You sort of you get into a routine, but then you sometimes you have a bit of a brain fade, and I do anyway, and things get fall out or get missed. But hopefully they're all set. So those ones there definitely had everything I need. So I lived up to my promise with those sets. So hopefully I've lived up to my promise with yours as well. So anyway, there are the 3 cards. I hope you enjoyed those. I hope you watch my Facebook page for future classes. I'm a bit crooked there. Got a bit excited with myself. Yeah, look forward to having you do more of my classes in the future. These are really good classes for beginners, whereas you don't need a lot of material at home. It's all provided for you. You just really need, as I say, your favourite sentiment and some glue and double-sided tape and some foam squares. But anyway, hope to see you back in the future. Enjoyed that one. Have a great day, and I'll see you all later.